All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. This video, I would just want to talk real quickly about how you can determine your fitness level. And a lot of the times, it's not that we don't really know what fitness level we're at, but sometimes we can actually misinterpret where we're at, right? A lot of times they can happen because of either overconfidence or not enough confidence. So let's just get right into it and really kind of define where these fitness levels can be and where you fit in. All right, so you have beginner, intermediate, and advanced fitness levels. There's no in between. There's no, really no other thing to do, because it'll make it more complex or more complicated if you're trying to define a fitness level. So either you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. All right, so beginners are not just people who have never worked out before, right? That's the obvious given, right? If you haven't worked out in over 6 months, you've been busy doing other things, you don't want to come back into the gym and do what even if you've been, I wouldn't say elite, but if you've been pretty good at working out and you've worked out over a couple of years, then you took a long time off, you want to come back in and do more like beginner exercises and kind of reacclimate yourself. Because if you come back and think that after 6 months you'll be able to do what you were doing just before you quit, which was probably pretty advanced and things like that, like sprinting and, doing very fast workouts and things like that, high intensity and heavy work, you could overreach and you could injure yourself very easily and quickly. So again, if this is your first time working out, you're a beginner, which is a given. But if you haven't trained in over 6 months, haven't really consistently got a really good consistent workout over the course of 6 months, and you've been kind of on and off, then you want to classify yourself as a beginner. Now that might be a blow to the ego. Excuse me. That might be a blow to the ego, because a lot of times we don't see ourselves as a beginner. And it's not that you are a beginner in the truest sense of the word. It's just that you want to ease back in. Now, the person that's just beginning, they might take about 12, 18, 16, or whatever weeks to progress to intermediate, but you might take only 2, 3, or 4 weeks, because again, you have a knowledge of, where you're at and how to get there. So you're going to get there faster. But I would always recommend starting out with more beginner type level exercises to get yourself reacclimated back into working out. Intermediate individuals are ones that can do a certain amount of exercises. Maybe they know how to do about 15, 16, different exercises, but they kind of are limited in terms of, their variety of training. They don't do, maybe they don't have a balance component or speed component or things like that. They do mostly kind of the same exercises, but they kind of know what they're doing and they can do it safely and things like that. And they've been working out consistently without taking too long of a break, in between times. So that's more of an intermediate exerciser. You can perform more exercises well than you can't, right? So you might be able to do squats, lunges, planks, push-ups, rows, all those different things. Whereas the beginner, if you say row, they don't really know what the row is. Or if you show them, they might say, okay, I've seen that before. But you've been around, right? You've been around the gym. You kind of pick some things up by osmosis and you can kind of get it going. Now, intermediate exercisers don't necessarily know how to put themselves on a variety type of or a progressive workout plan or program. And that's something that more advanced individuals do. So the people who exercise at an intermediate level will be able to perform a certain amount of exercises, and they can do them correctly and they can do them well. But the only thing is they won't be able to have more of a variety, or maybe they get stuck at some point where they don't know how to lose the rest of the weight that they want to lose or build the muscle that they want to build, or their cardio is limited to just, they do 30, 45, or 60 minutes. They don't do intervals, or they don't do any other varieties of cardio that it takes to get them to their goal. Okay? And that's where advanced individuals come in at. Advanced exercisers are ones who have a huge variety. They can perform a range of exercises very well. They hardly, pretty much mess up on any exercise, and they do complex exercises as well. So instead of doing maybe a bicep curl every time they're in the gym, they may do a bicep curl to an overhead press, or to take it even further, they may do bicep curl to overhead press and then go down and do a burpee. And they're very familiar with all these different names and of exercises and things like that. So if you know you're advanced, you can still challenge yourself. You can still, you know, when you're doing cardio, you do interval training, or you do, you know, 3 different exercises, or three different stimulus machines, which is like the treadmill, then the bike, then the elliptical. You know, you change it up, and you're very familiar with all the workout jargon and things like that. Now, advanced exercises are the ones who pretty much they have to continue to try to challenge themselves, because they know what it takes to drop weight. They know what it takes to gain muscle. They've been around the block for a long time, and they probably don't take too many breaks in terms of staying away from their training. And a lot of times these people have been training for a number of years, or they're former athletes or elite athletes or Olympians and things like that. You can always increase your fitness level up to advanced if you aren't, by staying consistent and by learning new exercises, and then just becoming familiar with the jargon. One thing that, excuse me, one thing I didn't mention about advanced exercises that I will now is that even though an intermediate exerciser may know what a row is, an advanced exerciser will actually know how to perform the row and not just be able to identify it. So with a row, for example, when you row, you don't just pull the arms back, you actually squeeze your shoulder blades together to the maximum point, and then you release and let them go on each row that you do. And that's something that an advanced exerciser will know, versus, you know, being intermediate. You may know how to do the exercise, or you may have seen someone and you know it very well. And then the person that's a beginner may not even know what a row is, you know, at that point. Okay, so that's all I have for you today, and you know, that's how you can classify yourself as you know, in terms of your fitness level. And that kind of keeps people safe and keeps them within their zone, so they're not watching someone else do one-leg deadlifts, for example, or box jumps, and then they go try and do something like that when they're not at that fitness level. Okay, if you want more, I do have a book that talks about how to determine your fitness level and many other things on how to train yourself, called Fitness Made Smart Not Hard. The best place to get that is on Amazon. And other than that, you know, thanks for joining and watching this video. Please, again, share this with someone who you believe will benefit from it, because my goal is to reach as many people as possible and give them the knowledge that it takes for them to succeed in their fitness goals. All right, thanks for joining. I couldn't do this without you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.